Hi, and welcome back to Fundamentals of UX in Games. To start, let's look a little bit deeper what game UX actually is. Game UX, or user experience, is how players perceive, feel, and interact with the game across every moment from onboarding to gameplay to finishing the game. Some people will take an even broader view of what user experience means, starting from the first time the player hears about the game and knows that it exists, to the moment when they tell about it to their friends and play the game, to the moment that they forget about the game exists. This is a very broad view, and we'll focus only here for the actual interactions that the player has with the game, cutting out hearing about it and thinking about it. Here's a breakdown of what user experience is by Usabilia. They focus on usability across all sorts of experiences, whereas our focus is on the games. So for them, the wordings are a little bit different. At the heart of user experience is how desirable, valuable, and credible the product is. And around that, supporting those things are how findable, accessible, and usable the product is. In our case, when we're thinking about games, user experience is about designing experiences that are usable, intuitive, engaging, and accessible. UX ensures that players want to pick up the game, have fun playing it, understand when it's a good time to put it down for a while, and leave them wanting to come back to the game again. Depending on your game, these timeframes and the answer to these things are very different. Some games have shorter sessions, some have longer, but all of these things pertain to all games. Let's put it this way. If the game is a map, UX is the path that guides the player through it, making sure that the player doesn't get lost, overwhelmed, or frustrated, and that the journey feels smooth and rewarding from start to finish. So, why does user experience matter? If we didn't drive the point home yet, let's delve a little deeper. Think about a game you tried but stopped quickly playing because you didn't enjoy the game. What made you decide you did not want to play it anymore? Really think about this, because it will help you get at the heart of the problem. Feel free to pause the video to think about this deeper. If you didn't pause yet, we're going to move on. So please, if you don't have your answer, pause the video now. The easy answer to this is it just wasn't fun, or it's boring. But that doesn't really tell us anything. What makes a game unfun or boring? It might be the controls. They might feel clunky or unresponsive. It might be the art style. It just isn't to your liking, and that's why you stop playing the game. And that's fine. Maybe you didn't know what to do, so you chose other experiences and games where it's easier to figure out what to do next. Maybe you felt overwhelmed with everything you needed to do and couldn't understand or pick what to do next, so you gravitated towards other games instead. Maybe the game sessions felt too long or too short for you, and you wanted a different experience. Maybe the game was just too difficult and you didn't have fun. Or maybe it was too easy and you didn't have fun. If there was a story, maybe that didn't hook you and it felt bland or like it was out of touch and you wanted something that suited you better. There are also many, many other reasons that can cause the game to feel unfun or boring. But I hope you have now an understanding of there are different things that make a game unfun or fun. By understanding your players, you can identify what these issues are exactly in your particular game and fix them, preferably before the game makes it to the players so everyone has a better time, or at least your target audience has a better time. But as soon as you find out what's wrong, you want to dig deeper so you can fix it as quickly as possible. UX touches every part of the game. Like we just went over some of the questions or issues that make a game unfun, here are some other things that prove the point. Is the heads-up display readable at a glance? That's a UX issue if it isn't. Do the controls feel responsive and predictable? If not, again, a UX issue. Can players of all abilities enjoy the game? Are challenges intentional, or is there accidental friction instead? Maybe players find something hard that you didn't even think would be an issue or was supposed to be easy. Is onboarding smooth and intuitive? And are players getting the feedback they need to improve, stay engaged, and enjoy what matters to them? All of these are a facet of the user experience. Let's quickly go over some good and bad UX examples so you understand a little bit better what this can look like. First off, there's Dead Space. There are many, many players and designers who really love this game because there is no HUD. All of the information, from player health to their stasis information or status, ammunition, and reticle, are in the game world. They are part of what the player's character sees and experiences, so it's extra immersive to the player as well. Then there's Arma 3. It isn't lauded as a great example of UX because it had very dense and often unintuitive menus such as this inventory, which just left players overwhelmed and frustrated. They wanted to play the game, but they were stuck trying to figure out what to do in this particular menu. In terms of gameplay, Dark Souls has been very and even genre defining. There are many Souls-like games around now. Dark Souls does no hand-holding, but has very consistent logic. The enemies and traps and rewards follow very recognizable patterns, and when players die, it's because of the player's own mistake and they learn something about how to play or how to approach the situation. And it's not about bad controls or unclear goals. The game also has very great pacing and stakes to build tension without feeling too cruel. The bonfires and checkpoints are placed very well to balance these feelings. The level design is also rewarding by looping back on itself to create spatial memory that reinforces the player learning and their journey. On top of that, the world is rife with storytelling that the players can explore at their own pace and depth. They can ignore it, or they can go really deep if they want to. So all in all, Dark Souls is a very, very good UX to the players on many different levels. To contrast that, the Callisto protocol was very anticipated for multiple reasons. One of them was because the heads-up display reminded players of Dead Space. It's very diegetic, that we'll cover later on, and a lot of it is embedded in the game world instead of on the screen. But it fell flat. It was supposed to copy things from a really, really great game, but players didn't have a good time playing it. The checkpoints were placed too far apart, so players often had to repeat long sections after death, which was very frustrating. The melee controls were clunky and enemy attack signals were unclear, so the players didn't know what to expect and what was happening. And there were many environmental cues that the players missed. They were too subtle and blended too much in the background, and players felt lost and confused as to what to do. This just goes to show that even when you're copying proven concepts, it can fall flat if there's no UX rigor to back up the design efforts. In summary, what is UX in games? Game UX is how players perceive, feel, and interact with the game across every moment from onboarding to finishing the game. It touches every part of the game, as every part works together to shape the resulting experience, which is why we said that it also should be interesting to all disciplines, because all disciplines come together to create the game. And by understanding your players, you can anticipate and identify game or flow-breaking issues and fix them before they become deal breakers for the player. I hope you feel that you now have a solid grasp of what UX is in games, and we'll continue building on this understanding in the following parts of this module as well as future modules in this course.